Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the table at a dance competition? Exactly what are the judges looking for anyway? This is Making the Impact, a dance competition podcast. Each week, we'll cover a different topic related to the world of competitive dance from the perspective of the judges behind the table. The competitive dance world can sometimes feel like an environment where if you don't fit the mold, you might not feel like you belong. Today on Making the Impact, we're discussing the need for inclusivity and diversity in the competitive dance scene as it relates to different abilities, different backgrounds, and different perspectives on what it means to be a dancer.
Hey Dance World, welcome to this week's episode of Making the Impact. I'm your host, Courtney Ortiz, and I'm here like always with my wonderful co-host, Lesley Mealor.
Hello, Courtney. Hello, podcast land. We are so happy to be here today. I'm really excited for this episode.
I am as well. We're talking about inclusivity and diversity in the competition dance space, the dance studio space. Children's youth dance is what we're talking about here today on the pod, and it's going to be an important discussion like always. That's all we do over here. We only have important discussions on Making the Impact.
This is true. It's, you know what? Dance competition is important. And I like today's conversation because, diversity and inclusion encompasses a lot of different things. It is not just one thing. It is not just one area. It in itself is diverse. It's a diverse conversation because there's a lot of aspects that we can touch on when it comes to those concepts in the dance competition world. So we have some really awesome guests today, new guests to the podcast, which I'm excited about. But before we get into our conversation, we do have some Making the Impact Awards to talk about, which is, again, also one of my favorite things to talk about.
Yes, we love giving out this award sponsored by the podcast at IDA affiliated competitions throughout the regional season. So if you are scheduled to attend one of our 15 plus IDA affiliated competitions, you might win the Making the Impact Award. And this award is selected strictly by the IDA judges on the panel and goes to that one dance by the end of the weekend that the judges just can't stop thinking about. They are still talking about it. It is fresh in their mind. They want to recognize you, and you not only get a fabulous plaque on site at the competition, but you also get a live shout out on Making the Impact. So let's hear some of our recent winners.
From Axis Dance Competitions event in Portland, Oregon, congrats to All That Dance Company from Eugene, Oregon for their duo trio Two Birds.
From Streets Dance Conventions event in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, congrats to Dance Mechanics from Pittsburgh for their duo trio In Reach.
And from High Demand Dance Competitions event in Laurel, Maryland, congrats to the Moving Company Dance Center from Timonium, Maryland for their small group Sister Song.
Congrats to all of our recent award winners, and don't forget to register your award by scanning the QR code on the back so we can give you that shout out on the pod.
And listeners, as always, we're going to tell you about our sponsors before we jump in.
Dancers, parents, teachers, studio owners, if you've been looking for a way to get real, detailed feedback on your routines from trusted professionals, you've got to check out our service, IDA's Online Judges Critiques. Our critiques are done by industry pros, judges who are pre-screened through Impact Dance Adjudicators, many with over 10 years of experience on competition judging panels across the country. And the best part, you can actually request a genre-specific judge, so the feedback that you get is tailored exactly to your style of dance, whether it's jazz, tap, lyrical, hip-hop, or anything in between. You'll receive your critique within 5 business days guaranteed. Or if you're in a rush, IDA is the only service in the industry offering 24-hour rush delivery. And new to all my choreographers, we're so excited to introduce our choreography consult critiques. This version focuses completely on your choreography, not the dancer's performance. Your IDA judge will dive deep into your concept, transitions, costuming, style, formations, textures, musicality, and overall vision, giving you specific, actionable feedback to help your artistry grow as a choreographer. Critiques start at just $35, and trust me, they're worth every penny. Head to impactdanceadjudicators.com/online critiques or click the link in our show notes to submit your video today and see just why IDA continues to set the standard for professional feedback in the dance industry. We're truly making the impact. Dance World, we are here today and like always discussing some really important topics in our dance competition world. But today we're talking about bringing inclusivity and diversity into the competition dance scene. Now, we have touched on this a few times in Making the Impact history. And one of my favorite episodes that we did either last season or the season before was bringing diversity to judging panels, which is extremely important conversation that we had. So if you like the conversation that we're about to have right here, right now, you want to hear more on that and why it's so important to have a variety of opinions and experiences and types of people on judging panels, we covered that in full detail a few seasons ago. So go give a listen to that fantastic chat. But today on Making the Impact, we have some brand new guests who are joining us. And fun fact, they are all Making the Impact Judges' Choice Award winners from our 2025 season. We recognized their studios and their dancers with the Making the Impact Award. And we wanted to bring them back on our podcast to share their knowledge, their representation, and everything that they've learned with working with the dancers that they work with in the spaces that they work with. And I think that they're going to be some fantastic guests. So the first two guests that I would like to welcome to the podcast are straight up from my hometown, Maryland. Let's go, Maryland, represent. But I'm meeting them right here, right now for the very first time. They are female studio owners, which let's go ladies. There's many female studio owners in the space, but also fun fact, you know what I was thinking before this started? There's not a lot of female competition and convention owners, mainly convention owners. Now that I think about that, maybe that's a part of the discussion that we'll get to, but let's go female owned businesses. And they are the owners of TNT Dance Academy in Maryland. I'm very excited to welcome Ty Williams and Tonysha McIntosh. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. And congrats on being a Making the Impact Award winner.
Yay. Thank you. Yeah, super awesome moment to be a part of.
And it was a solo, correct?
Yes.
Zay
Brooks.
Okay.
So fun. Loved the performance. And we do our voting contest at the end of each season. So that one's going to be coming up for all of our current winners in June. And she was killing it with the votes. Like, wow, y'all were sharing it like crazy. And she has a lot of fans out there. So I love how far you got in that little voting contest that we did. And we loved being able to recognize you with our award. So congratulations on that. And thanks for joining us here on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us.
I know you're both first timers in podcast world, but if you wouldn't mind sharing, whoever wants to go first, a little bit more about you, a little bit more about your background in dance, how you got into dance, and then also maybe how you both came together to open your studio.
So I've pretty much dance has been my whole life. Oh, well, I'm Ty. And dance has just pretty much been my whole life. My mom put me in dance at the age of 1, grew up dancing competitively, starting, I think, around the age of 5. And that was my whole life. I danced in multiple different styles, but my favorite was always tap. And so went on to keep dancing competitively, then became a teacher and was able to teach both competitive and recreational dances for both competition and recital. I even at one point went on tour with the competition and emceed for a little bit.
Nice.
A little bit pre-pandemic, and then pandemic hit and switched everything up, which is then kind of when TNT came about. You share.
Okay. I'm Tonysha. I started dance a little bit later. I was just kind of doing dance on Andrews Air Force Base when I was around 6 or 7. I didn't join Dance Depot where I met Ty until I was around probably middle school age, and then continued through high school when we competed together. I also did dance in college and I was a captain twice on the team there. We did competitions as well. And I just love dance. I'm a mommy.
A new mommy.
Yeah, of a 1-year-old.
Oh, congrats.
He's great. And then I would say we kind of started the studio basically because our old studio closed, and I really texted Ty and said, hey, let's start a studio.
Just via text message.
Yeah,
everything started with TNT over a text to parents that we had relationships with, a text to our former studio owner just to kind of get her blessing on us opening a studio, because we just didn't want to feel like we were stepping on her toes since she had just closed down. And everything went through text, and
it happened fast. I can tell you that for sure. It happened very, very fast.
Worked out.
Aww. Well, that's amazing. I'm so happy that y'all are following your dream and passion of running a studio, and you're doing some great work for your dance community, I can tell. So I can't wait to dive into this chat with you both. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
All right. Our next special guest who is joining us, again, like I mentioned, is Making the Impact Award winner. And she is also from Rochester, New York with Studio 19 and is the assistant director of the All Needs program, which is creating inclusive, supportive spaces where every dancer feels seen, heard, and valued. I can't wait to learn more about this program. I'm very happy to welcome Haley Everett to the podcast. Welcome, Haley.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We are too.
Yes. And I'd love to learn more about you and also give us a little intel as to your program, the All Needs program at your studio.
Yeah, so I was put into dance when I was 2 years old and definitely always had a passion for it, but I was a very stubborn 2-year-old, so I didn't like my class because none of the kiddos listened to the teacher, so I quit. And about a few years later, probably when I was in middle school, I rejoined at Studio 19. So I actually grew up dancing there with the teacher who left the studio I used to work at and then opened the studio. So it came full circle that I was back, and I started a little later, but definitely fell in love with it. So for as long as I was dancing there, we had this All Needs program, and it was just 2 girls for years. And I actually assisted the program in high school for a couple of years and fell in love with them, fell in love with the community, and actually led me to kind of work in this community. So I actually work at Gigi's Playhouse, which is a Down Syndrome Achievement Center. So we help individuals with Down syndrome anywhere from birth to adulthood and just free programming. So fell in love with that, fell in love with this community, also just wanting to still bring dance into it. So I eventually took over the All Needs program, just teaching still these 2 girls. And I was like, hey, can we compete? Like, can we go to competition and just give it a shot? And they fell in love with it. The crowd fell in love with them. Like, it was just amazing. And a few years later, I was just having conversations at Gigi's and other studios and just parents coming up to me like, oh, I just wish there was a program that our students could join and that was adaptable and that they felt seen. And I was just kind of like, hey, like, I'm a dance teacher, I can offer you this program. So fast forward to today, I think our oldest class has 17 students in it.
Wow.
Our younger class has 6 or 7, which is like 7 to 13, and then the 18 plus. And those 2 girls are still there. They're still competing. They're still with us. And we gave them a class and we gave them a community. And it has grown exponentially.
Wow.
I love that.
That's so great. Wow. What an amazing testament to just like the things that dance can do.
Yes.
Truly.
It just shows how amazing this community can truly be.
Yes. And I'm so happy to hear so many people have discovered it, whether it was organically or I'm not sure how you guys are marketing it, or maybe they saw you at competition and wanted to learn more. It is so refreshing to know that these types of programs exist for all dancers and that you've really grown this to success.
Yeah. And what's so amazing about it is like these disability mamas have their own community, right? Like they are the biggest advocate for their kids. So with promoting it like we do, but they did the promoting themselves. So it got to the point I was like, hey, we got to stop promoting this. It's like, we don't have room or space, but so many more programs are popping up around Rochester, which is so great to see that so many other studios are stepping into having those adaptive dance classes as well.
Awesome. Well, that's wonderful. And thank you for all that you do for your dance community up there. And thanks for being here on the pod.
Thank you.
All right, let's jump into this fabulous discussion.
Awesome. Well, welcome again. Thank you guys for sharing your time with us. I want to know from each of you sort of your own personal understanding of what inclusivity means in the world that we live in with competitive dance. What does that mean to you?
So I think inclusivity in the competitive dance world is just kind of a place where we're creating a space for everyone to feel welcomed, or everyone's given that equal opportunity to do what they love. I think it's just meaning we're including everyone, no matter their skin tone, their gender, their age, their abilities. Just everyone feels in a space where they feel welcomed and loved and appreciated. And I think, again, the biggest thing with that is just being able to be given the same opportunities to grow, perform, and share their passion and love for dance.
I agree as well. I know it's just wanting to be wanted and loved and valued without having to try so hard to, fit in. Why fit in? We just want to be who we are and just, be able to do what we love. We share something, which is dance, and we just should be able to get on stage and not care about, what, like fitting into a parameter or anything like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. So for me, inclusivity in competitive dance just means creating a space like where every student feels like they belong and has the opportunity to just participate and grow along with everybody else. A lot of times I feel like people think inclusivity just means allowing someone to be there in the space. But to me, it's like so much more than that. It's about adapting the environment so every dancer can succeed and feel valued. And that might mean in the studio, different teaching approaches, different choreography styles, or just being open to the idea that dancers can express themselves in different ways. At the end of the day, like dance is about expression, it's about confidence, it's about community, and inclusivity means making sure those experiences are available to everybody across the board. Not just the dancers who just fit that traditional competitive mold. We're changing the game and it's growing. So definitely allowing everyone to share that space.
Hey. Yeah. And I feel like that, competitions 15 years ago started to break that mold a bit when they introduced levels to competitions, which we talk about so frequently on the podcast. And it's very controversial because, there's things that could be done better and executed better on both studio sides, competition sides. But I think that everyone saw the demand and need for wanting to allow any dancer to be able to come and experience what it's like to be at a dance competition. So if you've only trained 1 hour a week, you still get to get up on that big stage with the lights and having a big audience cheering for you outside of just your recital. So I think that even that addition to many competition companies is helping adapt to more inclusive spaces.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was kind of like the first foray into being more inclusive, just to allow more people to come and participate. For Ty and Tonysha, have you guys, so your studio has been open since 2020?
Yes.
In that time period, have you seen any additional changes in the competitive space that you feel like you just have noticed in terms of bringing more people into the space? Or has it stayed pretty consistent for y'all?
I think it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I would say.
It was a little bit of a weird time because of the pandemic. So our first experiences were like the pandemic competition.
Yeah.
Just us there. So we didn't, get that same feel as you would normally get from a competition. But I think since 2021, when things, at least in the competition world, kind of went back to normal, things have seemed to pretty much be the same on our end.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I have noticed just over my time in the world, from, being a child all the way until now, is that like back in the day, there weren't that many, period. Right. And they did attract like that higher level, more affluent sort of community. And now there's so many levels of actual events, right? So that's being more inclusive of financial situations. Like people can come and now win a scholarship, or there's, the kind of, I'm thinking of like entry fees and the timing that you're allowed to pay them. I feel like even something like that has been a big change in the community over the past maybe 15 or 20 years.
Well, so wait, what do you mean by like the entry fees and the timing?
Well, so like back, I'm pretty sure, at least from my mom's perspective, you used to just have to pay them money. The whole thing up front.
And now
instead of being able to space out payments. Right, exactly. So it's like
the deposit and get discounts early and things like that. But, then I have heard that a lot of complaining of those deposits because they're so big and they need them so early that everyone's like, I can't do it. But maybe that's because some people have gotten so used to the spread of the payment plan that like they're expecting that. But now there's also this like hefty deposit that we have to like front at the top of the season. I mean, I think things have changed in trying to cater to everyone and try to make it work.
And to accommodate everyone. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because every studio comes from a different situation, different sizes of studios, different financial expectations based on what the studio can afford to do. How many entries can they enter? How many entries can a kid actually be in? It's an expensive sport. And I love that they are creating scholarship opportunities from some dancers. And I even know of that also happening at conventions too, where they're giving studio scholarships to come back, or even specific dancers that they're awarding, which is really awesome to see. I'm curious to know, Haley, your thoughts on this. And this is diving into competition specific, especially with your dancers when you head to competition, because I'm assuming that your studio has a separate competitive program, and then you have your all needs program. Are you entering your dancers into the same competitive levels as the rest of your studio, or are you entering them into some of the designated categories and levels that some competitions create for dancers of special needs and ability?
Sure. So actually the first competition that we took the kiddos to, and it was just the two girls, they actually had a category for students with disabilities or all needs, however you want to word it. So we did enter them in that category, but I feel like in our studio, we're very much about like, yes, this is the all needs program, just like we have the rec program, just like we have the competition program, but there's still just 19 dancers. They're still just part of the studio. So we don't really want to like call them out as having like different abilities. So when we go to a different competition, which we've had attended like a couple different ones, we just put them in the rec category because a lot of times it's like dancers who are dancing an hour a week, and that's all they're doing is they're dancing an hour a week. So they fit that mold to be in that rec category. And that's usually how we enter them if there isn't that like all needs category, which we've only seen at one competition. But we don't have a problem just putting them at that lower level.
Yeah. I was curious to know like your opinion on that as someone who runs the program. And I'm going to bring this into the convo because this was actually a question that was asked online and actually kind of sparked our interest to want to talk about this a little bit more. And the question was, how do we feel about special needs categories at competitions being called inspirational or things like that? A student of mine who competes in that category told me she feels it is demeaning and says it makes her feel like she has to inspire people, and she's only 9 years old. So it is interesting because I guess the teacher didn't have to put that dancer in that category if it was offered, but do we like that it's being offered by competitions, or should the competitions just eliminate it and let dancers dance where they fit into the specs of, if it's level broken down, like you said, they dance 1 hour a week, they're going to be in the rec division.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's hard because when we had this special needs category, it was 2 or 3 years ago, but I feel like since then, this program, like of mine's not only grown, but we're seeing more of it in the Rochester community as well. And we've had that. I actually had a conversation with a competition director one time, like, how do you feel about this? And they were just kind of like, well, how would we judge them? What would we do? And for me, it's not about the judging. It's not about the score. It's not, they just want their art to be shared on stage. And if that's in the rec category, great. That gives them competition. That gives them something to look forward to. That gives them something. They have other studios they're competing against rather than putting them in the special needs category. And a lot of times it was just them. And I love giving them that competitive nature as well. Like, oh my gosh, look at this is the dance that's before you. Like, let's go out and have the same energy as them. Like, and they see that and it gives them something to work towards and something to grow to. So for me, I just like that regular rec dance category because they're just dancers. They're just humans that want to share their art. And just like everybody else, so separating from them for me is something I'm always. It's such a touchy subject. It's so hard, but always just in our studio space alone. Like these are just Studio 19 dancers. They're not dancers with different abilities. They're not dancers. Every dancer has different abilities. They're all going to learn and grow in their own space in their own way. So they're just dancers.
Yeah.
That's it. It is. It's interesting. One of the episodes we did earlier in the whole podcast, like years and years ago, with a special needs studio owner. Like that's her whole studio in North Carolina. And I think if I remember correctly, I think she was kind of split on what she preferred. You know, if it was offered, she'd put the kids there. If it wasn't, she wouldn't. And it was just kind of like you said, you know, we're just here to dance. So I think that's pretty good. I love that.
Yeah. And let's go to TNT Dance Academy. So y'all are the owners, like I mentioned. Female-owned business, Black female-owned business, diversity in your studio, so important. I know that it's probably at the forefront of your mission, your studio. Why do you feel like that representation helps shape young dancers in your studio setting?
I would say for us, like as a young girl, when I was young, I wanted to see Black dancers. Like, you want to go out there and you want to see someone who looks like you, who when the girls are on stage and the first thing, well, most of our girls go and see who the judging panel is beforehand. So most of them are old enough to know who they're getting judged by beforehand.
Uh-huh.
And, we've had those conversations of, why aren't there any Black judges on the judging panel?
Yeah.
So, those are conversations we have to have in studio with them, as well as their parents have the same conversations. We have parents that ask us, are there any competitions where there's a full Black judging panel? Are there Black-owned competitions and stuff like that? I just think it's very important for them to see people who represent them as well.
Yeah.
And I know we are very big on, we want them to know, like, if we're strong in it and we're for it and we love it, we want them to do the same. So we want to be that example for them. We come from strong Black women. So
like she said, I think it's just the representation part matters. It shows that we too can have a seat at the table. And whether that's being, a studio owner, a judge at a competition, just a staff at a competition, it just shows that your dreams are attainable. They're not far out of reach, that you can do it as long as you keep working hard. So I just think that's really important.
Is that something, I'm curious, because I always wonder, my mom owned a studio for many years, and she was kind of a studio owner who wasn't willing to step up and ask a question of, well, who is on your judging panel? Is there a tap judge? Is there, she did not really step up and ask questions like that. But I think more and more studio owners are starting to sort of ask the question, if they need something from the event that they're going to come pay for, like, do you ever find yourself willing to ask that question? Like, how's your judging panel for the Maryland event? Like, who's on it? Like, are you asking these questions?
Yeah, we're not afraid to ask. I think too, like a big part of that is social media. Like the competition that we won the Making the Impact Award through, they were really good about posting on social media, like judges beforehand, or I think just like even their posts represented multiple different races, age, gender, abilities. And so I always say, like, when we have the competitions that we love, that we know we feel valued and supported at, and then you have experiences that maybe don't go as well. But the first thing we always do is look at a social media, because I think your social media page can tell us everything we need to know sometimes, just based off of what you have on there.
That's a really good point.
It is a huge point.
And it is true, because you're not the first people that have said something like that, where it's like, yeah, businesses need to pay attention to what they're putting out there and maybe then reinvestigate their business practices.
Oh, I mean, for me, like, I can tell everything about you by going to your website. If you own a business, I'm just like, is it professional or does it look like it was made in 1993? Like, where, is it organized? Is it clear? And I can just get a feel. If it's 1993 website, I'm not going to give you my business. Right. And I'm shocked to even see people attending competitions that have 1993 looking websites and people are still choosing to give them their money. I'm like, we have, and that sounds mean, but at the same time, like, that's marketing. That's marketing 101. Like, we have to have a cohesive social media and a cohesive website that looks professional, that is going to inform the customer, what are you getting yourself into? And representation on that matters. And it absolutely does. And I feel like that is being lost sometimes or forgotten about, or even the whole big discussion, which is kind of off topic, but just the appropriateness level of what is being posted on social media. And if that care and thought is being put into what we're putting out there by competition organizations, because then that's going to inform the customer. Oh, they're posting stuff like that, I'm not going to give them my business. I don't want my kids exposed like that on the internet, and however they choose to do that. So I do think that competitions could be a little bit more tuned in to how to appropriately market on social, because that's the first thing anyone does whenever they want to look something up. I'm going to check the Instagram. Pull out your phone, check out the Instagram. And if you can, even the first like 5, 6 little squares, you can get a feel right away. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I do think that is important.
Yeah.
Dancers, choreographers, and teachers, are you ready to take your routines to the next level? At Impact Dance Educators, our online judges' critiques give you the professional feedback you deserve. And here's why we're the best in the business. All of our judges are pre-screened industry professionals, many with over 10 years of experience in the judge's seat, known for their fabulous critiques at competitions across the country. With IDA's online judges critiques, you can request a genre-specific judge to get accurate feedback tailored to your submitted dance style. And no more waiting around for weeks to receive back your critique. We guarantee to have your feedback returned to you within 5 business days. And if you need an even faster turnaround, we're proud to be the only service in the industry that offers 24-hour rush delivery. Our exclusive post-critique additional feedback goes beyond the standard critique that you get at competition. Your judge will pause the video and break down your corrections, offering actionable advice and exercises to take back into the rehearsal studio. And with critiques starting at just $35, we offer competitive pricing in the online critique market. IDA's online judges critiques have been serving the dance community since 2017, with hundreds of happy customers who return year after year and 5-star reviews. Visit impactdanceadjudicators.com/online critiques or click the link in our show notes to submit your routine and experience why our online critique service is the best in the business.
What do you think? I want to shift into, from y'all's perspective, and Haley, we'll start with you. What do you think would be helpful for competitions to do? We could talk about at the event, pre-event, social media, but to better support the people that come from your studio. What can they do in the moment at the event to make you guys feel more seen, more valued, and more, just like everybody else?
Sure. I'll definitely start by saying the competitions that we have gone to, we have felt seen, we have felt valued, and it's been an amazing experience, especially the competition that we did win the Making the Impact Award. Yeah, it was pretty magical and pretty great to see. But a step going into it, because I feel like there's almost a fear going around, how do we judge? How do we even involve them in our competition? And the main thing is just to adapt. Understanding that every dancer learns differently, and sometimes just small adjustments, starting with just how the teachers are teaching the choreography. But something that I think would be really cool too is just a little pre-training for judges on different abilities, different disabilities that could be happen in the dance community. And think that's super cool for a judge on a panel just to kind of understand disabilities better, and understanding that an individual with Down syndrome, for example, I obviously work with a lot of individuals with Down syndrome, and knowing that they have something called hypotonia, which is that low muscle tone. So just them being able to do simple moves on stage, or the fact that they can do this pirouette and understanding wow, that should not even be capable for their body types, but looking them up there and understanding the work ethic that went into that. So just having a better understanding of different disabilities that we have in our community, whether it be autism, Down syndrome, kiddos in a wheelchair. I actually have a soloist that I teach who's in a wheelchair as well. So just having a better understanding, and understanding that just creating a culture where all the dancers still are being seen and valued, which I think I've truly seen at the competitions that we attended. So it's already happening, which is super great.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yes.
Anything from y'all's perspective?
Yeah.
TNT. I'm just going to call y'all that because that's fun. TNT.
I would say for us, I know Ty does too, but I think we love when we go to a competition, the competition director comes straight up to us and they know us already. They're like, you're TNT.
Right. We got you.
We don't have to look for them all weekend. They're finding us. They're making sure we're good. Those competitions are the competitions we go back to because you feel seen. Mm-hmm. They know who you are, and, they kind of make it easy. I want it to be, when we go there, I don't have to look for you. Our girls, they're looking for us. They're like, okay, your girls are here, and they're making friends. The girls, a lot of our girls love to talk and have fun. So most of them will go backstage and make friends with the backstage crew. So that's when I know we love a competition, because our kids are having a good time. They're making friends with the backstage crew. They're making friends with other people. So I think we look for stuff like that. They're open to talking about things. We've had issues and situations where we were able to go to the competition director and get things handled. Just last year, we had a situation at a competition, and that competition director, she was on it. She knew about the situation, I think, before we knew about the situation.
Great.
And she was a Black woman. So she knew. She was like, nope, we're going to make sure this is handled. It had to deal with the kids, and she got it together. So there's just people like that and competitions like that we look forward to. I think that's really.
Yeah, I think kind of like going off what Haley said, just I think more judging, more training for judges, like bias training, I think is a good one to just do because everyone has their own biases in their own ways, but just being aware of them, especially going to competition. I think like a big possible concern of ours this year is we're doing a dance that could ruffle a lot of feathers. It's, I think, a really meaningful dance when it comes to, being Black, and majority of our dancers are Black. And we felt that it was an important dance to do and talk about. However, I know there's going to be people in the audience that disagree with the dance. And there will probably be judges that disagree with the dance. And so also just kind of preparing ourselves for the fact that this dance just might not do well, and not because of what you guys, your abilities, but just because you're not afraid to dance or, speak up on something that you feel strongly about. So I think just training and on things like that. And we've gone to a couple of competitions too, on the other side of the training aspect of things, where it's been nice. Again, the Making the Impact competition we went to was a really nice one where they focused on, they had judges that were clear, trained in tap and jazz, which is nice because we had tap soloists who have gone to competitions and they're like, yeah, I did well, but I don't have any feedback. But at these competitions, they were able to get really good feedback, and they do them live on stage, which is like, again, those additional things that just add to the fun, and something I wish more competitions could bring in, make it more personable.
Yeah, that's like another layer of the diversity and on the panels that we need. Totally. Like all, and again, we went into a deep dive of this on that episode, but like that's a perfect example of people complain about it all the time. Well, they don't have any tap judges on the panel, and it's like, sometimes I cast for competition judging panels. I get it. Sometimes things just don't align where there isn't a tap judge available or a specialty tap judge. Maybe everyone knows basic tap, but not advanced level tap. Okay. But there's definitely many times where competitions are trying their darndest to make it happen, and it just doesn't work, or someone drops out last minute, and there's just so many behind the scene things that we just don't know. However, then there's a lot of comps that just...
Here's some people.
Yep. Who's the cheapest, who's the closest, who's the youngest, who's the oldest, who's the whatever. It's just whatever works for them. And everybody's different. But I think more care, more thought needs to go into that. I think that, like you said, as a studio owner with predominantly Black dancers, want to see some representation on their judging panel. And yeah, a lot of comps, actually so many comps never even share who are the judges.
Right. Anywhere. Not in a program, not on social media, not
bio,
in person.
I don't know.
They barely say hi, welcome to the judges, wave at your friends. Like, it's wild when that happens.
It's crazy. And like Lesley and I as judges, we're like, do we even exist in this world?
Me.
It's crazy that, and like, is there a reason?
Right.
To me, sometimes I'm like, is this intentional? Are you choosing not to share that information with your clients? Because as a client, I would want to know the background of the person that's judging my kids, and their last name, where they're from, anything. I just want to know about them. And for that to be kind of gatekept away from clients and not shared, it doesn't need to be broadcasted on social media, but like at minimum, even send it directly to the studios. Here's your judging panel for the weekend. Like, get to know them. I mean, that matters. And that's being a little bit lost. And I'm not quite sure why that people, comp owners feel like that's not valuable information for customers that attend and give them a lot of money to attend. Yeah.
This is very true.
Across the board, that's super important. But I want to applaud you for taking a risk on a dance that, you feel like it might ruffle feathers. And I am unclear of what this dance is, and I haven't seen it, obviously, but like, if it's done well, if it's done correctly, if it's done properly, I'm sure that it will be well received. And even if it's not well received by everybody, it sounds like that y'all are taking that risk and understand that risk, and have talked to your dancers about it and said, listen, this might not go in our favor all the time, but we are very, very excited to share this art and this story with the world, and hope people understand it and hope people see us. And that's the purpose of art. We don't want to take it too far where it's going to be inappropriate. And I think that there's that level of the fine line in children's dance competitions, which we talk about often. But I also respect the fact that it doesn't sound like that we're doing it for the shock value win and we have to get first place. It's just like, we understand that this is a risk that we're willing to take. And I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I hope that it goes great at competition. And I wish I could.
Have you competed it yet?
We have not.
Oh,
Okay.
Let us know.
Competition. So,
oh, you're starting late this season.
Wishing you well.
Do you guys always start season late, like in March?
Yeah.
roughly, yeah.
Yeah, typically. Yeah.
It's not late, but it's
not late. Yeah. Well, some folks been doing this since like November. You're like,
it just keeps getting earlier and earlier each year. You're like, ooh. And then just out of curiosity, for both sides, Haley, how many dances are y'all bringing to competition this season? How many comps are you going to?
Yeah, so we offer competition. It kind of like is optional in the past for our competitive students. I mean, for the All Needs program. And they kind of got to the point that they'd like be like, yeah, we're going, and then drop out last minute. So this year I made like hey, Thursday, this is an optional competitive class. So meaning no partner work, I can easily change formations. Where our Saturday crew is like, hey, if you're signed up for the Saturday class, like we will be doing one competition, which has kind of worked out the best. I was hoping that would also split it up a little bit in like number wise, but it didn't. Because we had a lot of them that they wanted
the best laid plans.
Yes. And so it didn't work out in that aspect, which was totally fine. So I actually have like a Thursday special needs class too that they only have 4 kiddos in it. But I talked to their parents. I was like, hey, are you cool if we compete? And they're like, sure. So they're doing one of their dances. Saturday's doing one of their dances. And I actually have a lot of solos
Nice.
and the duet that won last year. They actually won the award. They're coming back again this year with another duet. I'm like, you guys have to do another one. Like, we need another debut.
Yeah, showstopper. You have to do it.
Yes. And one of my soloists, actually, she has just been working so incredibly hard. And she's one of my dancers that she's kind of like, this is why I do what I do, because her confidence level is like exponential growth. So I was like, listen, we're throwing you in another competition. So we're actually throwing her in one more that she's never gone to. We've never taken this All Needs program to, just to kind of like trial it out and see how she does. And she's super excited for that.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So definitely growing with the number of dances that we're bringing.
Nice. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And TNT, what about y'all? How many comps, how many routines do you enter into a comp? Just curious.
So comps, we have 2 teams. We have a competition team and an elite team. And we just separated them because we had parents and kids who wanted to do nationals every year and travel out of the state to compete regionally, and then parents who didn't want to. So our elite team does 3 regions. You're right. 4 regionals and a national. So they do 5 competitions total. And then the competition team this year is a nationals year. So they'll do 2 regionals and a competition. And then we also offer just 1 optional, where if you just want to go out of state to compete your solos or duos, you can do that as well. So a total of 6 competitions.
Wow.
Okay, so your March through July is very busy.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And also, I didn't ask this question, but how many students do you have on your teams or at the studio?
On our competition and elite team combined, it's 32 kids.
Nice. Amazing. And that's really great, especially since you're a newer studio. I know you're in year 6 at this point, but still newer into the industry. Wonderful. Well, I love hearing that. I'd be curious to know, especially coming from studio owners yourself, Haley, working with a studio owner, also giving advice to other studio owners out there. What advice could you give where studios could take a step forward this season or add into their next season to make their spaces a little bit more inclusive or diverse? Anything come to mind?
I mean, I think one simple step for studio owners is don't be scared to be open to adapting the way you teach when new students come in. I feel like I've worked with many studios in the past, and some teachers are just like, this is how I teach, I can't change. And I've tried to like introduce like special needs, all needs programs, and it's hard when you have one way you've been teaching for years. But every dancer learns differently, and understanding that sometimes small adjustments in class, like maybe you are playing the music quieter, or you have to have a class without the lights on, or you have more program assistants in the room with you for friends that need more physical adaptations. And just taught how like corrections are given or how classes are structured. It can make such a huge difference for a dancer, I feel, who might not otherwise like feel left out. It's just making those adaptations like, oh, like this teacher's seeing that I need a little extra help. That's great. Like I feel seen in this room. And another important step is just creating a studio culture where all dancers feel valued with who they are, and not just how to perfectly execute the choreography, but like how they execute the choreography, and how their art can make your art kind of grow so much bigger.
Yeah, just like really recognizing the individual. I think that's what I'm hearing, which is wonderful.
Absolutely.
TNT. Any thoughts?
I would say have the conversations. Don't be afraid to have these conversations, not only with like the students, but also the parents. Ask them, they're your customers. They're going to know. You can even ask the kids, hey, is there something that, we go to competition, is something do you feel a type of way? Is this something you want to talk about? Like, just have those dialogues and those conversations, because it'll open doors and you won't know. You can't read parents' minds. You can't read the kids' minds. And Ty and I always say that we don't know something until
you tell us.
Until you tell us. So we're always just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think just being open to change. Times are changing. Every day is so different in the world we live in right now. And so just being aware of what's happening in today's world, for one, and then being open to change and work with your family. So like, even just we have where we live at, there's a lot of our families who work in the government. So when the shutdown happened, like that was something that really impacted a lot of our families. So just again, being open to communicate with your families and having what I feel, or hope at least our parents feel, they have a safe environment here to talk to, and we'll work with you. While this is a business, we really pride ourselves on being a family too. And like, it's about the kids at the end of the day. And that's what we want. We want to see the kids be able to dance no matter what. So just being open to change and being aware of what's happening, so you can always be there and show up for whoever, your parents, your kids, whoever needs you at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I would also like to throw in one more thing. Sorry.
No, please.
The teachers or studio owners that might be scared to even start like a different adaptive program or a more inclusive program, I like to just say, obviously we've had this program for years, but since it's grown, it has changed our studio culture so much. And not only just our kids being seen and heard, but the rest of the studio too. You see more relationships with them being distinguished. The cheer squad at competitions is like out of this world, and it's changing their mindset as well. And I do, I call it the inclusive dance, or the collaboration dance at recital every year, where I'll have my older team along with like our senior team come together to do a dance. And it's kind of a way for like after competition, after you have that mindset, like, oh, I've been competing, I just want to win, I want to do this, I have to work harder. It kind of has them take a step back, and they're like, oh, like this is what it's about. This is why I fell in love with dance. And what's super cool is that at competition, we saw it with other studios as well, watching our kiddos on stage, like other studio directors, other teachers coming up to me and being like, this was amazing. I would never even think, like, I have a couple kiddos with disability in our studio. I would never even thought to bring them to competition. Like, this was so inspiring. But other students as well, like congratulating their kids that they didn't even know coming up and having conversations with them backstage. So it definitely changed not only our studio culture, but I feel like just the culture at the competition as well.
Can we talk about how I wish that more kids would do that in general at competition?
Truly.
Like, go up to someone and tell them that you loved their dance and that you were inspired. Like, I think that sometimes it just gets so cutthroat at these competitions, and it's like, well, I have to be with my team and I'm not allowed to talk to that team, and they're our rival. And then kids start questioning how a dance made them feel, even though they're just this sweet kid that's like loves everybody. But the culture, it's the culture, you said. It's
everybody, it's the parents, it's everybody around them. I was working a competition this weekend, and the director told us this afterwards. She goes, I was just standing there watching, a dance, and this little girl walked up to me and she said, you just look like a really nice person. And the director was like, well, I think you're really nice. She goes, no, I really just think you look really nice. And I wanted to tell you that I like you. This little child. And I think that like that is how kids are. Like children are naturally like, they want to be friends. They want to get to know people. And then we as this adult community start, little rivalries or little cutthroatness. And it doesn't have to be like that, because be like that little girl. Like, if you're like, you know what? I like her costume. Go tell her you like her costume.
Tell her. Talk to a stranger.
That's actually something we started doing at competitions. We've made like these little bracelets. And I only thought about it because I'm actually fidgeting with it right now. I have these little bracelets that say Fire Dancer on them. And it just says Love TNT Dance Academy. And we give them to our kids to give to a kid from another studio who they thought was really good, or they liked their costume or something, because it just has promoted. It's something that was done to our studio with it was duck. Kids were
Oh,
getting.
right. Yes.
So it's just a good way to, like you said, build that like supportive, healthy competition. And then two, getting us to talk to each other, like studio owners, or like that was really nice that your studio did this. So it's been a fun way. And it's something that I think, at least in our area, it's been very popular, that more and more studios are like handing out things to kids that they are inspired by.
Yeah, they do the pins a lot now too. We did those with the elite team this past summer for nationals. They made little pins and they pinned it on people at nationals.
Yeah.
Not their costumes, because we had to tell them, don't
be doing that.
Their costume, please. And it just gives the kids an opportunity to speak, you know? Because a lot of our kids they only speak to their friends, so it makes them public speaking is important. So
yes.
It gives them something like exciting to look forward to outside of just their dances and the whole event itself. But they're like, oh, how many bracelets do I have to give? Oh, I can't wait. Who am I going to find? Okay, I have to watch some dances to make sure I can give my bracelets out. Like that community feel of why we dance, why we go to events. Like, yes, it is a competition. Yes, we get it. But we are allowed to feel inspired by others. We are allowed to take in art and feel something and not find out that it's the rival studio that you compete against and they say, oh, well, I don't like it anymore. You know, like those types of things. It's like, feel what you feel when dance is art, and we're supposed to feel something when we watch it, whether that's good, bad, whatever it is. But don't go tell them your dance was horrible. Please don't keep those thoughts to yourself. But, you know, if it's something that moved you, if you loved the costume, like you said, go tell the kids. It's so sweet. It makes their day. It's so nice to see that.
Having students, and especially our studio, just understand that dance is about that expression and connection. And the more people we invite into that space, like the stronger this community becomes. And the more meaningful this community becomes. And we all started dancing because we loved it. And just kind of having that reminder in the back of the head, like, yes, we're competing, but what started this and why are we here? Why are we doing this?
Right. Take that, Timothée Chalamet. Yeah. We are out here. I have one more question. And it's for all of y'all. There was a recent post on a social media dancer site that was talking about like skin tone tights versus not skin tone tights versus dress code. And being somebody, I work for Capizio, full disclosure, there is a lot of work to be done in all of that space in terms of dress code and adaptability for, you know, sensory issues and things like that. So it's all happening in the background. But as we stand right now we have some options for all kinds of different needs. What are y'all's thoughts about that? Do you, in terms of Ty and Tonysha, do you guys have requirements in terms of dress code that makes your community feel more included? Or are you going more of the route of our dress code is our dress code and whatever it is?
I would say as far as like tights and like shoe matching for us, the kids, I always tell their parents, their lyrical shoes match to their skin tone, skin tone. And if they're too light, I say we could put makeup on it to match it to their skin tone, because it just adds something. It makes them see like there's a shoe that's for me. Because, you know, you get even like our little people in rep, the parents love to get their ballet shoes the color of their skin. So you know, we're all for it. We love it. Yeah. Tights, when I order tights, I literally try to match each kid's. Now, it's a struggle sometimes. I don't have the kid there to match it sometimes.
Right. You're like, have you been in the sun lately?
Yeah. So I love that there's variety, you know, there's options of different colors, because we didn't have that when we were growing up. Everyone had the same color tight, and that was it. So I think it gives them something to look forward to. And the parents, I think it's more the parents love it more than anything else.
Right. Well, like you said, if the parents are your age or older, they didn't have that opportunity in any capacity, whether they were dancers or not. Right. And so now they're like, we're going to give you what you need. Yeah. And the kids are like, this is normal, because it has luckily been normalized, you know, in a lot of spaces. So that's good to hear. And Haley, in terms of, do you have any brands that you guys like in terms of something that is comfortable for dancers who maybe have sensory issues?
Yeah.
Or do you have a less of a dress code, you know, for that reason?
Yeah, I definitely have less of a dress code, and we're very lenient with this program. But I have honestly had so many issues with this, because even just picking out costumes, it can't have sequins. It can't have, we are the definition of all body types in my class. And it's so hard to find a costume that adapts to all of them. But another thing we've been really struggling with is shoes. So many of my dancers have just wider feet, because that's just like how they're made, and finding a tap shoe that's comfortable or finding a jazz shoe that's comfortable to put on their feet is so hard. So that's something I would love to like be looked at in the future as a more adaptable like dance shoe or more adaptable costumes for them, because there is those sensory needs. Like we have some kiddos that if they like see sequins, they're going to run away screaming. They're like, nope, that is not going on my body.
Oh, really?
Absolutely not. Which like, I
don't
get it.
blame
Like
them.
if I'm itchy, like I'm not going to dance my full out either if I don't feel comfortable in a costume. So finding a costume and shoes and tights that they can all feel comfortable and confident in. I've given up on tights because I'm like, there's half of them will not wear them. So I'm just like trying to find a costume that has pants or a longer skirt so that we can get away with not wearing the tights. But it's honestly really hard.
Yeah.
And the shoe thing, especially, like I have parents like, do you know where to go? And usually we're recommending this dance store that's right down the street, but they're like, we tried going there. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, so that's definitely something I've been trying to research more and just having more conversations about, to have like more adaptable shoes, more adaptable clothing, because it is really hard. Our first year, they went out in a t-shirt and leggings because I was like, I can't. I was like, here's a fun shirt. Here's some leggings. This is what we're all comfortable in. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that's hard. Yeah.
I forget that like dancers need to try shoes on before they like commit to the purchase. You know, like
with all this online shopping.
It's just like online shopping now. Like physical dance stores there's like one a town. If you're lucky, you got to drive like 2-3 hours to get to one. And it's like, I know like a lot of studios would sometimes create a little shop attached to their studio if they could, and have at least like a trial shoe that you could try on and then order it, whatever the case may be. But yeah, you know, and they're growing kids that their foot's changing every year. Like they got to get a new shoe every year. And so, yeah, I can understand that would be really difficult when you can't even try on the shoe. And it's not like a sneaker. It's like a jazz shoe that's
something
like
that's
snug
supposed to help
and
you do
like
something
different. Yeah.
It's functional.
Yeah.
Well, I will recommend, I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's the Tap Fit brand, Haley. It's like I'll send you the link. Okay. I'll email it to you, but it's actually pretty cool because it's meant for people to like to stretch on this. It's like tap, and it's got like elastic around it, and you stretch it onto whatever shoe you have.
Okay.
And so it's more meant for like exercise, but it's a legitimate thing you can buy, and that might actually be really helpful if like your kids do need tap shoes that don't come in an actual size. So I'll send it to you.
Yes, for sure. I have a few students in my tap class that don't even put tap shoes on because they have like the braces on their legs and they don't fit into a tap shoe. So if I could like have their sneaker and put that on, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, hey, that's a great idea. Yeah,
send that over.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Oh, I love that. Is there anything else that we missed that we want to talk about? Anything off the top of y'all's head that you want to touch on before we wrap up this chat?
I think I do just want to mention that the day that we won this Making the Impact Award, I was at the competition and the students that won it weren't there because it was the day after. So I didn't even know what was happening. But I was, of course, backstage calling their parents. And I had a staff member come up to me in full on tears. And I was like, I'll probably tear up talking about this. But he literally came up to me and he was like, this is why we're here. This is why we're doing this. I'm so glad they got it right. I'm so glad you were here representing this program. And it's just so great to see these competitions becoming more inclusive in the diversity world and the inclusive world, and just understanding that everybody deserves to have their art seen and their talent shown. And thank you for this platform too, to help us share more about this as well.
Yeah, totally. Yes, I love that. And honestly, that's why we do the Making the Impact Award. We give really no restrictions to the judges with this. We literally say it's whatever dance you still can't stop thinking about by the end of the weekend. It's that dance. And sometimes
they always like to say at the ones I work, it's the one you talk about at dinner on Wednesday night. Yeah. After the weekend, you're still talking about the dancer. And that's usually what it is. People are probably still talking about y'all's dances.
Yeah. The one boy that was in it, he still, every time he sees it, he looks at the award, he's like, I'm famous. And I'm like, you are, buddy. You are.
Oh, that's great.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, this was such a fantastic discussion, and I loved learning from y'all and your experiences. And thank you for sharing that with us on the podcast. Thank you to Ty, Tonysha, Haley for joining us here on this chat.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And how we always have our guests lead us out. If you have listened to Making the Impact, or maybe here right now is your first time, we always have our guests lead us out with just one final thought on the topic at hand. So like I kind of said, anything else that you want to just leave the world with, if you want to talk to other studio owners out there, if you want to talk to the competitions directly, if you want to talk to students and dancers around the world listening, parents as well. We have a lot of different people who listen to our podcast in the dance community. So whoever you want to speak to, leave them with one final valuable nugget from you.
Just hope in a couple years, hopefully this year, or if not this year, might be too soon, but in the next couple of years, dance competitions can just be a place where kids can go on stage and do what they love. Choreographers, studio owners can just watch the dances that we've created and be proud of what we did. And parents can just be loud. It's just hope we get to the point where competitions just go back to being fun and a safe space for everyone to just enjoy, and a little less competitive and more supportive.
Ditto. I would also say change. Change is always fun and good, even though it sparks a little, but I think change is what's needed. So.
Yeah, I would say, just closing this out, that just understanding inclusivity is not lowering the standard in dance. It's expanding what excellence can look like in the competition community and the dance community, and expanding that community as well.
We hope you enjoyed our latest chat all about bringing inclusivity and diversity to the competitive dance scene. Special shout out to our guests, Ty, Tonysha, and Haley for joining us. Don't forget to follow them on Instagram. You can find Ty at ty.williams.5, Tonysha at Niche Faith, and their studio, TNT Dance Academy, at TNT Dance Academy _. And you can find Haley at Haley_Everett19 and her studio at Studio 19 Dance Company.
Don't forget to follow Making the Impact on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you want more exclusive episodes, support our podcast by joining our Platinum Premium membership for only $5 a month. Subscribers receive free Making the Impact stickers, shout-outs live on the air, ad-free listening, and exclusive access to our Q&A episodes for members only. Join now at impactdanceadjudicators.com/platinum premium or click the link in our show notes.
Be sure to check out IDA-affiliated competition Elevation on Tour. Elevation on Tour is redefining the dance competition and convention experience. Their passion for serving the dance community has challenged them to think outside the box, to create a space where dancers of all levels will grow in their artistry and character. Engage, embrace, and elevate your dance experience at Elevation Dance Convention. The convention atmosphere is carefully crafted to promote inclusivity, personal growth, and character development. With their inspiring faculty, Elevation on Tour empowers dancers to return to the studio with a newfound energy and love of dance. Elevation on Tour Competitions offers 3 performance levels, stunning awards, and a distinguished 4-judge adjudication panel, including 2 specialty critiques for choreography and technique. For more information about Elevation on Tour, visit their website at elevationontour.com and find them on Instagram at Elevation on Tour.
Next up on Making the Impact, stay tuned for an IDA competition feature, an episode all about pointe, and a throwback episode about ballet.
Only a few episodes left on this season of Making the Impact. Stay tuned for more in the upcoming weeks. We'll see you then.